Well, gentlemen, it's a big week for the streaming series.
Yeah, that's the season finale. Rings of Power.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is. Do we learn who Sauron is?
We're just going to have to see.
Yeah.
And episode 6 of Andor should close out this current arc and set things up for the second half of its first season.
I love how you kind of wove in all of that weirdness to that.
That was interesting.
I honestly think it could get very messy before this episode ends.
Yes, Mouse better not die.
Mouse is going to die.
Or Nemec, whatever his name is.
Nemec, yeah. Well, he's actually, according to our friend Pete Fletcher, he's as dangerous of a radical as he's a fascist, potentially writing his manifesto.
He's Mouse.
It was actually a really interesting idea that he came up. But anyway, don't and also don't tell Grace Randolph this, but the Easter eggs in episode 5.
He's still thing.
We're all over the place. We're going to talk about all of that and more next. This is Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody listen to that.
So what about Gotham Knights? Wasn't there a new trailer for that?
There was a new trailer for Gotham Knights.
was.
It looked really good.
looks
I
very
haven't watched
good.
it yet.
That's
You need to.
It's a little over a week.
It's,
Next weekend's going to be big. Going to be some Black Adam. We'll talk about that
Nice.
as we go forward. What'd you say?
ACT.
ACT test. Yeah, that's it. Welcome to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast, the only fan podcast to name a canon Star Wars creature and to be endorsed by the writer and the director of The Last Jedi.
And Glass Onion, which tickets apparently came out today, but not for AMC. So
We'll get him. Ryan Johnson is his name. The man, the myth. The legend.
Yes.
That's right. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation, that there is a story, it is written on our souls, and that these myths speak to that story. And that is why we talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and all of the other epic franchises that you love so much. Pete mentioned it on the last show that he did. He talked about that on the interview. I had a phone conversation with a guy today I haven't talked about our Star Wars podcast with in 2 years. And he's like, I love how you guys talk about, and he mentioned the mythology of our generation. There's a story. So people are starting to get the message.
That's awesome.
With that, I am David. I am the dad.
Hi, Dad.
And hello, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm honored to be joined every week by my two amazing sons. Shmuley, what do we got going?
I mean, we all know who Sauron is.
We all know who Sauron isn't at this point. BB Nate.
I really hope the leakers are right this time.
That's true.
Dad?
Yeah, I cannot even begin to tell you how excited I am about one of the Easter eggs in episode 5, and I don't think you guys picked up on it.
I must have missed it. Yeah, I didn't pick up on any
It's
Easter eggs in that.
It's going to be super fun. Well, I think you did pick up on the quote that I'm going to reference, but the Easter eggs are important.
All right.
With that, we'll talk about that. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for listening to the show. We definitely appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe on your podcast app. Give us some ratings and reviews. All of that, we would be honored tremendously. But enough talking about what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about what we're talking about.
Yes.
That was one of the smoothest little
I did
intro
it today.
sections we've had.
Yeah,
We did.
That was good.
We should throw a wrench in it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, Black Adam might be bigger than we thought.
I hope so.
Or at least it might live up to what Dwayne Johnson's been making it to be. Rumors about Henry Cavill reprising his role as Superman have been around for years. But some recent events have reignited that flame. So let's get into what those are.
Are you ready to smell what the Rock is cooking?
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, I can fly.
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way. The people in this room, which one is A, wearing a spangly outfit, and B, not of use?
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Batman has no limits.
It's kind of almost like the complete opposite of No Way Home, you know, where like all the actors and stuff are like, no, I swear I'm not in it. I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't gotten any calls.
They were like, no, he's in it. He's in it. I promise. He's in it.
Yeah.
Please come see our movie. We need the money. DC's begging for this to work out.
It really is. They are banking it on it big time.
They really are. They're like, let's put all the big DC stuff in one weekend to boost up our quarterly.
we got to do it.
But let's get into Black Adam v Superman or whatever it is. A lot of
that would be cool.
That would be awesome. A lot of rumors have come out recently after the press screenings of Black Adam, which I saw one of the fans at the red carpet in Mexico.
Okay.
Crowd surfed his baby up to Dwayne Johnson.
That's pretty cool.
And
that's
he
pretty
was
trusting of
holding
the
it.
crowd.
I know. And he got up there and he was so happy. He was
so
like,
cool.
It was awesome.
It's awesome.
It's weird. But a lot of people have been saying that Henry Cavill is back as Superman in a post-credit scene. Now, it's just not confirmed.
Okay.
So don't think it's great. I mean, Daniel RPK, which is a semi-reliable source,
he's pretty reliable,
has
honestly.
been reporting it. Another person was reporting it. They had a really long name, but they got banned a little bit after it. So that might be an indication too. They were one of the first ones to report it, but we'll see. What do y'all think of this? Henry Cavill Superman may be back.
I mean, first off, the proposition is really exciting and would be really good for DC right now. That's what they need. It's almost like, I think I made this analogy before, this example, but it's almost like the Justice League, like Zack Snyder's Justice League. They need Superman to rally everything together and
That's
kind
true.
of save everything.
I thought about
so that's
it like
kind of what it feels like. And I don't mind it being in a post-credit scene. Let the movie be Black Adam.
Yes.
And then, just like what they do in the MCU, let the hype come from that post-credit scene where you bring in this character.
It would be
I like it.
One of the first big post-credit scenes we've gotten in the DCEU.
That actually meant something.
That meant something.
Right.
I mean, we've gotten a couple, but nothing that's been like, ooh.
Monumental.
Yeah.
Like where the crowd is going to cheer. Sort of.
I do think it's interesting that basically Warner Brothers Discovery shut down almost every film that they had coming out the rest of this season, except for Black Adam and I think one more. With it. There's not a ton.
No,
they've put all of their eggs in this basket. This is their moment. If this doesn't work, it's going to be the end of the DCEU, I think.
Yeah.
And so they're hoping for this movie to get a lot of box office success, but I think that they don't expect the box office success to come as much on opening weekend as it will with legs going forward.
Yes.
Because if they put in Henry Cavill in a post-credit scene,
people are gonna go
the buzz on this thing is going to go crazy and it's going to get legs, and that's what's going to make it fun.
What they're hoping for, I think, is legs till Black Panther. So
carry all the way to November 11th. Yep.
Be the top movie until Black Panther comes out, and be the second.
It's only like
place.
2 or 3 weekends.
Yes, but then be second place when Black Panther comes out. Just have that run where you're competing with Marvel a lot.
Yeah,
which is what they need.
That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be awesome.
And not only is it the rumors from some semi-reliable sources, Dwayne Johnson himself is teasing this a lot, just a lot. An interview actually a couple days ago for recording, it was about yesterday, had Dwayne Johnson saying this: Black Adam is the most powerful force on this planet. The most powerful force in the universe has been on the sidelines for too long.
Interesting. Now that last line it corrects sort of my hesitation when I first heard the quote. I didn't pick up on that. So when he says the most powerful force on this planet, I was kind of like, it could be a number of different things. But when he talks about that force being sidelined for too long, that tends to make me think he's talking about this. Going back to San Diego Comic-Con, when he was talking about, somebody asked him, could you see Superman and Black Adam battle each other, and he says it depends on who's playing Superman.
Yeah, he said Henry Cavill is the Superman of our generation.
The way that question and this topic has been handled lately makes me think that they weren't originally planning on it, but then through some movement and some
changes,
pulling of strings, they're like, get Henry Cavill, we're going to film a quick end credit scene and throw it at the end there, because that's clearly what the fans want, and it'd be huge, right? I'm sure Henry was all for it. Obviously, Dwayne wants it. Like Nathan said, they both have apparently the same agent or something like that. So it wouldn't be hard for them to quickly pivot and do that. So.
I don't think that it was like just let's throw it in. I think that all of the upheaval at Warner Brothers Discovery Warner Brothers, which is it?
Warner Brothers Discovery.
It's Warner Brothers Discovery. All of that happened a couple of months ago, which created so much drama with the cancellation of the Batgirl movie and all of the things that happened with that, all the TV series being canceled, all the new movies being delayed or canceled, and that kind of stuff. We had stepped back and said, could this be them resetting the DCEU and trying to do this right? And they had said the DC is a cornerstone franchise for us. That makes sense. That's when those people finally went into the boardrooms and got on the phone and called Henry Cavill and his agent and said, we want you to play Superman.
So shave your mustache. No.
Please.
Well,
shave your. Yeah. Please. We will wait for you to do the film till after you film whatever you got a mustache for. But get this done. And that's what I think that Dwayne Johnson wanted that to happen and others as well. And I think that's exactly what's going on.
And hasn't Henry Cavill been seen clean shaven with slick black,
he dyed his hair black
hair
and his Clark Kent.
Why would you do that to your hair?
And I wanted for a role. I wanted to save the full quote of what he said till y'all thought about what he said there. Now, before he had that quote, he said, I really wanted to listen to the fans on this one. And then he went into that. So I think it's a pretty big indication that and then he said almost this exact quote in another video a few days before. With a little wink at the end of it. So it's just like he's either playing with us, which I don't think he would.
Yeah.
And he's just really into it. And like Sammy said,
he almost seems in a way too egotistical to just play with us. Like he wants to be able to take the credit for, in a way, saving the DCEU. So
I think you're right.
If he's teasing it, I don't think he's bluffing. Like he's probably playing with a good hand there.
No, so. and like Sammy was saying, another big thing is that Dwayne and Henry have the same agent. It's actually Dwayne's ex-wife, who's a producer on the Black Adam.
Weird.
That's interesting.
And Dwayne and Henry have been close friends since 2016, which is a long time. Right about when he started playing Superman, or a little after he played Superman, Batman v Superman. Is this just kind of all but confirmed at this point that Superman is going to be in Black Adam?
I want to say yes, but I'm too scared to.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like how I felt with No Way Home.
Exactly.
I wanted Toby and Andrew to show up, but I mean, it was almost too good to be true. Like, it didn't really happen. But I mean, I feel like all the signs point to it, and if Warner Brothers wants to make a smart decision, this is the way they need to go.
I really do hope it happens, though.
Me too.
Let's speculate for a little bit. Let's have a little bit of fun here. How do y'all think this post-credit scene goes down if he's in it?
I think it depends on the movie.
Really?
I think it depends on the way that the character of Black Adam finishes out his storyline in this movie. If he still is way anti-hero, kind of a dark figure that can't be trusted, then you bring in Superman to be the counterbalance to him.
Right.
With it. And I think that sets up a really interesting storyline going forward.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think Black Adam's still kind of doing his own thing, a bit of a rogue, right? And the government really is not a huge fan of that, so they send their enforcer.
Interestingly enough, it's
and
kind
like
of,
I could just envision it. He's flying there, and then you see Henry Cavill like from the top of the screen just fly in with that red cape. And
it is interesting to think about how in Man of Steel, they went so out of their way. The government and the world governments and things went so out of their way to try to restrict restrict Superman because of their fear for him. And in this storyline, it could be they're appealing to Superman to be the one that to come to counterbalance the one that they really do need to be concerned about.
Yeah. So do y'all want to hear what the rumored post-credit scene is?
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of want to be surprised.
It's just rumored right now. It hasn't been confirmed by anybody.
All right.
So it is actually a lot like what y'all are saying.
Really?
The post-credit scene starts with right now Amanda Waller
talking
to Black Adam, who is in Kahndaq.
his nation that
his
he rules,
nation
right?
that he rules.
Okay.
And she says, "This is your prison now. You're not allowed out of here. You're staying in Kahndaq. That's where you rule. That's where you're going to stay."
There are worse prisons, though.
Yes, and that's what they do in the comics mainly. And he's kind of like, "Well, you guys can't do anything. I'm the most powerful being." And she's like, "We have more powerful."
Whoa.
And Superman shows up behind him, and he's like, "You know, Earth hasn't been this scared in a long time."
Wow.
And then it's supposed to just cut off.
That's cool.
I love it. I hope
Yeah.
it's true.
And then John Williams' theme is supposedly playing, and Superman's suit is exactly like the Man of Steel one, just a little bit brighter colors, bit brighter red, brighter blue, more classic.
Kind of like what they did with Spider-Man.
Yeah, more classic Christopher Reeve Superman.
That's cool. Bring it.
What are your
That's
thoughts
what it
on
is
the classic John Williams theme playing? Because I've heard some people, when Nathan told me that was rumored, that some people aren't a fan of it.
It's a lot of
Come on, I'm a super fan of John.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything John Williams-esque is fine.
They're worried because Danny Elfman put John Williams' theme in the Justice League
It
soundtrack.
didn't work in that,
And it
I'll
didn't,
admit.
But this one works.
They'll make
And
it work.
and people have said it works better because this is a tease, and John Williams' theme is more recognizable than Hans Zimmer.
In a
Absolutely.
short time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Well, as you're hearing this, Black Adam comes out in just a few days.
A little over a week.
A little over a
When you
week.
hear this, yeah.
Whew, it's been so long. I want you to think this has been about 12 years in the making.
Yeah.
That's some dedication on Dwayne's part. I'll give him that.
Yes. Tickets are on sale now. I don't know how fast they're going, but they're probably going to go fast pretty soon here. So go get those, and let's see if Henry is Superman again.
Oh, I hope so. Very good. Nice segment, BB Nate.
Thank you.
Good job.
You took one little thing and turned it into 15 minutes. That's good.
Right.
Proud of you. All right. Here, where are we at? Oh, yeah. That's
Is it
it.
canon?
Oh, yeah. I'm gambling with Sam and Nate that they won't get today's Is It Canon correct. The question is, do I have the winning hand?
This is not going to go the way you think.
All right. If you don't know how the segment works, it's pretty simple. I give a description of something I found by hitting the random article button
How
on
long did it take
Wikipedia.
today?
One click.
Nice.
These guys are going to make an argument for whether they think it's canon or legends and why. Are we good?
Yes.
Ready.
All right. So the item this time is winning hand.
Cool.
See, did you see how I set
I like
that up
it.
on that?
Yeah,
Earlier in the
that's good.
teaser. The winning hand was a pleasure ship the size of a medium transport in 26 after the Battle of Yavin. It made a hyperspace jump from the Corellian sector to the Meridian sector near Obra Sky along the Perlemian trade route and vanished after making a garbled transmission. It was located by Uldir Loket aboard the Pride of Thela. However, it was revealed to be a Peace Brigade ship and unsuccessfully attempted to capture the Pride of Thela with its tractor beam.
Who's going first?
Wow.
I'll go first.
You go first.
I think this is canon. I feel like I've heard about this somewhere, and I don't hear about legend stuff. And this is after Battle of Yavin.
That's true.
So this is around, aftermath.
This is about
era.
5 to 6 years
is
before the
Aftermath
sequel
book
trilogy.
era.
No.
No?
Aftermath happens just within
Okay,
like
so
a
this
couple of
happens
years.
before.
Yeah. No.
Before, right before Force Awakens.
Yes. So
Yes.
about 5,
Okay.
6 years is when
I feel
this
like I've
would
heard
happen,
about this, though.
according to
I
that
feel like
timeline.
I've heard of Ober Sky. That sounds very familiar. I feel like I've heard about the Plerominian, whatever it is.
Perlemian trade route.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard of that too. I feel like I've heard of this story. I don't know where, and I have.
You're so confident.
I don't know, but I know I'm going to be wrong. But I feel like it's canon.
I don't know, man. Maybe this is just our previous experiences influencing my behavior, but something about that sounds like it'd be a perfect setup for an RPG campaign. I mean, think about it. Oh, this ship's gone missing, and all we have left is this garbled transmission. You got to go find them and save them, right? I mean, it's like a perfect MacGuffin, right? So it makes me think, it's probably from some RPG book, because as we said last week, there's tons of those that we know like nothing about. The only thing that gives me pause to say that it's from an RPG and therefore not canon is the time period, because I feel I don't know when most of the RPGs were set, especially not so close to something like sequel trilogy. So I don't know. I think just to keep things interesting, I'm gonna say it's Legends.
Okay.
And that's I just think it sounds RPG-esque.
All right. So canon for BB Nate, Legends for Samuel the Hutt. Are you sure?
We'll see.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. It is from the New Jedi Order Edge of Victory 1 Conquest. It is a Star Wars Legends novel.
Okay.
Written by Greg Keyes. It's the 7th volume of the Star Wars The New Jedi Order series, following the New Jedi Order Balance Point and preceding the New Jedi Order Edge of Victory 2 Rebirth. It was first published in paperback by Del Rey on April 3rd, 2001. Both Edge of Victory novels were later compiled into a hardcover omnibus from the Science Fiction Book Club.
So I was right, but it's not an RPG. But it would make a really good campaign starter.
It does sound like a really interesting way to start an RPG. So very cool. All right. So that's fun. I like it when I get you guys just,
to disagree.
To disagree on it. That's fun. All right, Samuel the Hutt, take it.
Well, we're rounding the corner on Rings of Power. The finale of season 1 is this week, sadly, but there's still one burning question that's left unanswered. Who is Sauron? So we'll throw our hats in the ring.
We're all Sauron? We could be Sauron?
Yeah. Okay. We'll throw our hats in the ring, and with a keen eye, we'll see if we can put our finger on who he is.
That was good.
Be on your guard. There are older and fouler things than orcs in the deep places of the world.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
You're coming to us. Is as the footsteps of steps.
There are many magic rings in this world, Bilbo Baggins, and none of them should be used lightly.
Figure out what caused the schism between elves.
Schism?
Yeah,
the schism?
Yeah, that. Between the elves and dwarves.
During the third's a jerk.
He is a jerk. But he's going to blame the elves for releasing the Balrog, which is going to screw up the kingdom. And the elves are going to be like, no, it's your fault because now we're all going to die because you don't have Mithril. And it's just not, it's not going to be pretty.
Definitely not
During
going to be nice.
the third is a jerk. I don't like him.
Oh.
During the fourth,
He's
was
a
just
good guy.
being a good dude trying to help his friend. And during the third said, no, I don't like during the third.
All right.
During the fourth is better. During the turd. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Nate. Nice. We should probably move on to the rest of the story here.
So
All right.
let's break down who some of the candidates might be for Sauron. I'll lay out some pros and cons for him.
It's a Isildur.
And yeah, sure. And we'll see what we all end up deciding on. So first candidate, Adar. The pros are he's evil.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, he's already got a bunch of orcs and he's already chilling out there in Mordor. There are a couple cons though. He said he killed Sauron, so that's a bit of a conflict of interest. He's not a Maiar like Sauron was. And he's not the stranger. So,
all right.
that's the way in.
He's
for
not the stranger.
Adar.
That's a con.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's not the stranger.
Yeah, I don't think it's Adar. I'm just gonna be honest. I think he is just kind of he is the original orc. He very well could be the mouth of Sauron or Witch King or something like that.
Okay.
One of those. But I don't think he is Sauron himself. I think the fact that he named the Southlands Mordor is cool, but that's not a Sauron thing.
Okay.
That was a cool moment.
That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
When it
changed from Southlands to
flamed out Mordor
Yeah.
to like.
And that's good. It just kind of tells us all, look, this is now Mordor for sure. Like
And I loved how the smoke was coming out of Mount Doom to cover the entire Southlands with a
haze.
veil and haze.
Yeah, for
darkness.
the orcs.
Yeah,
Yes.
The darkness has descended.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think the fact that he said he killed Sauron
He did actually.
means he. It's kind of like
Darth Vader.
It's kind of like Obi-Wan saying that Anakin killed Vader.
That's fair. Okay.
With that, I think that he could definitely be him. I do get sort of second in command henchman vibes from him, though.
That's what I get too.
So.
All right, next up is Halbrand. Some pros for him. He's already kind of got the ears of men and elves. That wasn't actually supposed to be a pun, but he's already gonna have to play with them, and now he's traveling to go see the elves because he's wounded. Could be self-inflicted. I don't know. Maybe. He's mysterious. We don't really know much.
We
about
don't know
him,
why he was why he was banished to that ship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And why
he came
saved
from
Galadriel.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
He's already considered to be the ruler of the Southlands, where Mordor is at this point. So, maybe it wouldn't be too hard for him to take it over. And as we saw in, I think it was like the 3rd episode, he's got some pretty violent tendencies.
Brutal.
He goes a little berserk there.
That was interesting.
Some cons is he's seemingly just a man, but then again, we're talking about what's essentially Satan in Lord of the Rings, so you could probably change how he looks to fit what he needs.
This is true.
We don't know exactly what he was doing before Galadriel washed up, so he could have very well just been a normal dude, and he just
working
got
on a
banished.
ship somewhere,
right? Yeah. And another con is
trying to survive a shipwreck.
Yeah, it's possible. Another con is he's also not the stranger.
Stop that.
Nate, what do you think?
This is it kind of all seems to fit. It would work. And also, when he was about to kill Adar, he was like, you remember what you did to me? You remember who I am?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Come on, baby Nate, bring it.
That's a very, that could be saying that Adar killed Sauron, who was just Halbrand, and he's trying to make him remember. Or maybe he did die, and that's just the reincarnated as Halbrand.
Yeah.
And he does have violent tendencies. He is kind of manipulative, and he looks fair, which is something that was kind of said by Frodo in Lord of the Rings. I feel like evil would look fair and
but feel fouler.
And so that could be a thing too. But also, I feel like Galadriel would sense something's off, because she herself deals with darkness a lot.
That's true.
And she doesn't feel that around him.
It would be ironic, though, if Galadriel, whose entire existence has been to try to find and defeat Sauron, is the one that brings Sauron to power.
And I do want to mention this. All of the recent marketing to Rings of Power, especially for this season finale, continuously has one line that kind of keeps being.
I'm not sure I've watched any of it.
Well, it's not like a line from a character. It's kind of like words that flash onto the screen,
right.
And it says, "All will be revealed. All will be answered." So we're gonna get who Sauron is in this next.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, I am starting to lean towards Halbrand actually being Sauron. I'm just playing the joke for the stranger,
because the stranger is not Sauron.
But
right?
I mean, like Nathan said, a lot of things play to it. Honestly, I really like the idea. It's so like chess versus checkers. He's been manipulating every little tiny detail to get to where he is.
He's the only one that survives the attack at sea in the second episode.
Seemingly going from complete nothingness. Oh, I just happen to be on a boat to, oh, now I'm a king of this kingdom and I'm about to go have the word of the elves.
Reluctant to be the king.
Right. No, I don't
manipulating. It could work.
Yeah, I could really see it. Plus, it would explain why they felt the need to put this original character in the series. Yeah, because he's not in the books or anything, so it would give an explanation.
Do we have who Sauron is in the books? Do we know?
I mean, he's just. I think he's just a dude. Okay. He just disguises himself as an advisor to the elves and stuff, and is like,
well,
hey,
then
I
that
got a great
ties into
idea.
this too. Yeah. So
I think he's more of an elf in that story, but he's kind of like, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't you all make these fancy rings? Don't worry about it. They'll give you power, and it'll all be good. And then he goes and makes his own ring.
Well, it'd be interesting because he may be revealed, but he would only, if this for the series to work forward, though, Halbrand being Sauron could only be revealed to us.
Right,
it can't be revealed in the story.
Yeah,
with that,
not yet. And then third candidate that I could think of is the Stranger. Some pros for that are he's magical. We've already seen him do some pretty crazy stuff. He kind of fell from the sky in a big ball of fire, laid there in what looked like to be the eye. Sauron's theme has been played with his quite a lot in the series. Weird Sauron cult demon things are looking for him. And he's just Sauron. So
he's not Sauron. Stop that.
And then some cons are, I guess he does seem to be taking a bit of a liking to the hobbits. Harfoots, or predecessors to the hobbits, right? I mean, he is getting nicer, but it could just be an act.
Yeah.
You know, this is Sauron. And he does kind of have a beard.
You really want to get me worked up. So all right.
I want to point out the whole Sauron's theme has been played with his a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There is another track in the soundtrack which I've listened to too many times, The Broken Line.
Okay.
Where Galadriel's theme is played a lot with Sauron's.
that's Halbrand level.
More of a weird, like, Galadriel's theme starts playing and then it gets discordant. It never finishes really.
Do we know when that track happens in the series?
Hasn't happened yet.
Oh, it hasn't.
No, I think it happens in this last episode. Also, I want to point out, every time we've heard the Stranger's theme with Sauron's, it sounds like a little bit like they're battling each other. They're different from each other. They're obviously at different points and they're changed. There's an obvious cutoff between them. So it very well could be that the cultists, weird Morgoth disciple things are finding the Stranger to eliminate him before he gains power.
Because he's a sign.
Because he is a sign of the fall of Sauron and Sauron rising and then falling. And so they could be trying to eliminate him before he gets enough power, because obviously the weird cultist people are powerful because they can teleport,
set houses on fire,
and teleport and do all this weird stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
I think that it's very possible that the Sauron is not the Stranger.
Have I ever explained to you that you're my favorite, BB Nate?
You do this.
You have before, actually. This is not the first time.
No, this is you make some really good points. First of all, I just want to say I love how the two of you can like deduce so many different things from soundtracks. With that, I love that because I don't hear that on any other podcasts that I listen to. So I love that. I do. I am firmly, like, both feet firmly entrenched in the position that the Stranger has to be Gandalf, and I would be absolutely devastated if he was Sauron. If he's not Gandalf, that's one thing, but if he's Sauron, I'm going to have a real problem going into after the finale with that. So I'm praying it's not the truth.
I agree.
I think another theory could be he's actually Saruman, because I think Saruman was sent to Middle Earth to keep, like, when Sauron was rising to power.
It just doesn't give me the feel of Saruman, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And it feels like Gandalf.
I saw this, and people were pointing out that Saruman, of course, and Radagast and Gandalf, they're all a part of the same species.
Right.
And Radagast stays in one spot. Saruman stays in one spot. Gandalf is constantly wandering.
And he has a relationship with the hobbits.
When he came to this planet, to Middle Earth, what he knew was wandering and adventures. He might make camp for a little bit, for a few days,
but he doesn't have a place,
but he does not stay. So he continuously wanders, and he has such a good relationship with the Harfoots, which I'm sure that Nori is one of the oldest ancestors of the Tooks, because she's the most adventurous of the Harfoots.
That's it. Come on.
And
what's her last name? Brandyfoot?
Brandyfoot, yes.
I think they're in the
the line of the Tooks.
Yeah, they have to be part of the line of the Tooks, because the Tooks are the adventurous ones and the Baggins are the non-adventurous ones.
Well, there's some adventurous ones that pop up.
Of course there are, but not very often. So I think that it's highly likely that the Stranger has to be Gandalf. I mean, there's just
Thank you, BB Nate.
It has to happen. And if he's not Gandalf, that's fine. But like you said, Dad, if he's Sauron, that's devastating.
It is devastating.
But the thing is he destroyed something, and then he gave life to it accidentally. So he's not fully aware
that last
of his
episode
power.
made me like, come on now. That's life he's giving with that. So
is there someone else it could be? Maybe Theo, Arondir, that leader guy of the Harfoots. You don't think they're
no.
Anyone we haven't seen? Maybe
I don't know. I mean, if it's somebody we haven't seen,
they have to introduce him.
They have to introduce him in the next episode. But personally, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, I think
it'd be too obvious, though. We'd if they're going to introduce anyone at this point.
Well, they're going to reveal it no matter what next episode.
It's more sinister if it's Halbrand. Of all of these characters,
I agree.
The one that makes the most shocking. I mean, there's a shocking element to the Stranger.
Any of them,
but the one that has the most impact on the story, if he's Sauron, is Halbrand.
Yes,
I agree.
And I think the big way they could reveal, I'm just not sure how they could reveal it to us without revealing it to the rest of the people in the show. I mean, it could be like, he falls asleep or something and sees the Eye of Sauron, or I don't know what it could be. But
you've literally been like, haven't we seen like images and video of Sauron standing in
that was in the
first episode.
That was from the early part.
Right.
Okay.
So they haven't given us anything, but they keep having like evil will reveal itself kind of things with Sauron. Like, you can't play us like that for this last episode.
It could happen in a way if he kills someone, like if he kills Adar, because Adar then remembers what's going on and he's coming back at him with revenge.
But why would he go
and
back
it's in
to
a quiet? I don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know how long this last episode is.
I'm just telling you, and that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, all right,
cool. All right, well, as is traditional, I think we need to do some predictions for the finale. Sure to go wrong. Nate, why don't you go first?
I don't know. There's just something. The thing is there's so much in this show that could happen.
Right.
Like, I didn't expect Mordor at the end of episode 6, but they went there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. I think we see, this could be real. But maybe we get a little bit of indication of Nazgul in this next episode. Maybe some of the Elven Lords or something.
I don't think the Nazgul were the Men Kings who returned, so that's not for a while. I don't think we can get that yet. Maybe no rings have been made.
Here's your wacky, crazy prediction.
Okay,
Isildur's horse starts to move the rubble from off of him and gives him CPR. Resurrects Isildur. Horse CPR. and resurrects Isildur.
Okay. Yeah.
And Isildur kills Adar. That'd actually be cool.
That would actually be kind of
But not the whole horse CPR thing, but Isildur killing Adar, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I think that I'll go prediction sure to go wrong, just to kind of go down the dark path that BB Nate started this segment with, and say that the Balrog, he comes out and he kills Durin the Third.
That's not dark. That's a joyous.
Oh my gosh, you're just wow. All right,
he was so mean.
Yeah, all right, Sam.
It's funny. I wrote this segment and I forgot to actually think of my own prediction for the finale. Sure to go wrong.
Thanks a lot. Now you know what we feel like.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. I think we're going to see Halbrand start to kind of get this council together of different elven lords and lords of the Men Kingdoms, which I'm not even sure how many there are. We've only seen the Southlands and Numenor at this point, right. But he could obviously get the ear of Numenor at this point, right? So he could start to form what could be the way he throws out the idea of making
There's
rings.
one thing that's been happening in all of the trailers. We keep seeing something being forged, and we have not seen that in any of these other episodes.
Well,
I think we kind of even know that that's the rings that they're trying to allude
I don't think
to.
they do that yet.
They can't do that yet, though. But there has been.
Well, Disa was sitting there smacking a hammer.
No. Like molten metal being poured from like what looks to be an elvish bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So we haven't seen that yet.
Well, and another thing, I don't know why we didn't pick this up, or I didn't put this in the pros, but Halbrand's a smith. That's the whole that whole big thing. He wanted to be a smith, so he can maybe be like, "Hey, Celebrimbor, you want to do like a?"
And we have just helped you.
And Celebrimbor has a conversation with Gil-galad in this last episode. We know that was in the finale trailer and everything. And he says something about we could have power. So
maybe Halbrand is like, oh, you know that like weird sickness problem you have? What if you made magic rings and that's what fixed the problem?
But who's going to infuse the rings with the magic? Is it the elves?
I don't know how that works. I don't remember how it works in the. Maybe
that's why they need a supernatural
metal
wizard being that fell from the sky.
Well, that's why they're making that super fancy forge.
That's true.
And stuff too. Okay. So I don't know. Well, sadly, Rings of Power Season 1 is almost over, but so far it has well exceeded my expectations. I can't wait to see what questions are answered and what new ones we end up getting in the finale this week.
Yeah. Good job,
Sam. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. was a fun segment, fun conversation. I'm glad that you came to the light side on The Stranger.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's scary season at the box office. Spooky season. I'm going to say scary season. But what's scariest is, and maybe spookiest, is how few people are seeing movies right now. That's next on Movie Moments.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
So one new, possibly big release. This is going to be
it's going to be a big release for this.
It's going to be a big blockbuster.
For this kind of movie.
Yeah. Halloween Ends. The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in this final installment of the franchise until they decide to reboot it in like 6 years.
It's been 40 years that they've been making these movies.
How many are there?
I don't know.
There's a lot. It's just, I don't know.
6 or 7, I think.
Director is David Gordon Green. The cast is Jamie Lee Curtis, Andy Matichak, and James Jude Courtney. Studio is Universal. It is rated R for bloody horror, violence, and gore, language throughout, and some sexual references. No, we're not going. Why would we?
We're not going.
No interest.
There's no point.
There's not. No, we're not.
For trailers, there have been nothing.
It was not a good week for trailers. I mean, once the Black Adam trailer stuff came out and the Wakanda Forever trailer came out, it was just like...
There's been nothing.
Yeah.
For box office results, Smile, still pretty good with 17 million.
That's
yeah,
not
but
bad
I'm
for
used
that
to
movie.
seeing like 90 million. And
I know, it's weird.
Well, this is not a big blockbuster horror movie.
Yeah, but there hasn't been a big movie like that in a very long time.
There hasn't been. Lyle Lyle Crocodile, 11 million. That was his opening weekend.
Yeesh.
Amsterdam, 6 million domestic.
Yeah, that's worse.
That's not good.
Sure. Yeah, so
That's
this has
it.
been sad.
Did we see a movie this weekend?
We did not.
We didn't go to a movie this weekend.
No, we've been a little busy.
We're going to a movie next weekend. We're going to Black Adam.
Next Thursday.
But we don't have anything on the schedule for this weekend.
No.
We're going to a football game this weekend.
Yes.
Go Jags.
Go Jags. Right.
I think this is apparently
Is that how we do it?
wrong hand. Left hand. There you go. Y'all, this is great audio. I think it's our homecoming week game.
That's cool.
So,
all right. Awesome.
yeah.
All right. It's been said that there aren't any Easter eggs in Andor. But in episode 5, there were some very important ones, including a direct tie-in to the greatest animated Star Wars series ever created.
Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
So the greatest animated Star Wars series is Ewoks, right?
Those Troys.
That was pretty good. Both of them are nice,
yeah.
but no, we're talking
Hard
about
Clone Wars.
that one's pretty freaking
It is.
good.
It is.
Yeah, all right, let's unlock these Easter eggs here. So what happens is this ISB conversation takes place between Attendant Hurt and Supervisor Miro. So Attendant Hurt reassures Supervisor Miro that she may be correct in her observation that the random events taking place across the Empire may not actually be random.
And
he notices a pattern of stolen items from Kessel, Fondor, targeting consoles from Jakku, proton warheads from Base K, and the Starpath unit, of course, that started the whole series from the Steerguard Naval Yard. Miro and Hurt deduce that the rebels are spreading out their thefts in an attempt to make their attacks appear to be random, and Miro proposes that they search 2 more files.
Good hard-working people.
They are. So the first one they mentioned on that we should talk about is Jakku. This tie is a big tie-in into the entire sequel trilogy, the Disney era.
But I thought they were retconning that.
They are. Yeah, they are. It doesn't even exist anymore. It was a fever dream.
What are we talking about?
By Mara Jade fell asleep and had a dream. And it was the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I remember.
I heard Mike Zero. He told
Luke was going to kill her and all.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, in the Disney era, Jakku is front and center in all the timeline of events following the Galactic Civil War. It's also outlined in massive ways in the Aftermath trilogy of novels by Chuck Wendig, as well as in Battlefront 2. That has a major role in that. The Battle of Jakku is the final battle that fully ends kind of all the remnants of the Empire, but it also sends a group of Imperial officers and soldiers into the unknown regions to become what would later be known as the First Order. And then, of course, Jakku is where Rey's parents, including the clone of the Emperor himself, leave her until she's discovered by Finn and BB-8 in The Force Awakens. So, Sam, do you think it's important that these pre-original trilogy stories bring in Jakku in order to tie the galaxy together?
Absolutely. I mean, the whole Star Wars universe, and especially what have been coming out lately, have been, trying to tie in things that have happened previously, right? I mean, the whole reason that there was an entire TV show basically created was because Obi-Wan was like, yeah, I fought with your dad in the Clone Wars, right? And then boom, you've got the Clone Wars created, right? So everything's created to flesh out this world of Star Wars, right? Throwaway lines are turned into huge things.
Never throwaway lines.
Right, exactly. Almost everything can be turned into something huge. So I love that they're mentioning Jakku, because I didn't notice that. I was like, hey, look, I think that's one of the first mentions of Jakku that we've gotten.
I think you're right, yeah.
In a live action setting prior to the sequel trilogy, right, at least in the timeline. So I love it. I do think it's important. I think it's important that we tie in all sorts of things. I thought it was cool that they mentioned Kessel, because, not only is that a reference to the episode 4 and all that, but hey, it's Solo, So I think it's hugely important that they do that sort of thing.
I think it's interesting that they, it's not a series is being, or a storyline is being built off of a throwaway line. Mm-hmm. In this case, a throwaway line is being built off of a storyline.
Yeah.
With that, which is the opposite. What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I loved hearing about Jakku. I noticed it the first time. I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I think it's cool. I do want to see the Battle of Jakku, like full
in something more than just Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I want to see the entire battle, because it was so important to Star Wars, and we've either read about it or played somebody in the background.
Short too in Battlefront 2. I think it was one mission and it was over,
and we didn't see much. Like, we were in the background for most of it. So I want to see more of it. I want to see an actual event and how the Empire ended. And the officers being put into the unknown regions for the First Order. I kind of want to see all of that.
But all that happened in the Aftermath novels. That's like a major plot line of the final novel.
A lot of stuff has happened with, say, Ahsoka that has been retconned.
Yeah, that's true.
And they are doing the Ahsoka novel basically in that Tales of the Jedi. So it's not like they couldn't turn that story into some sort of animation or live action. That's cool. What timeline or how long after Episode 6 does the Battle of Jakku?
About 2 years.
Okay, so it's before Mandalorian and stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, all that's done. With that, the next planet they mentioned in that exchange is Fondor, and it also ties into Battlefront 2. It's a planet that contained a space station within its orbit that housed satellites crucial for Operation Cinder to be carried out. These satellites were acquired with the help of the Inferno Squad, which led to Operation Cinder's success. BB Nate, Operation Cinder is also referenced in The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. With that, is this story going to become more and more important in future shows and films, or is this just another fun Easter egg for super fans like us?
I think since we know mainly what happens with this in a game and we've seen it play out, I don't think we'll see it again. I think it'll be maybe mentioned. It might become an important little plot line for something like in, I don't know, Mandalorian maybe. I don't know. But I think right now it's just an Easter egg. A fun little thing for us people who played Battlefront 2 and enjoyed it. Will recognize. So
yeah, I agree. I don't think it's meant to be anything more than just a fun little, hey, I know what they're talking about sort of thing. Again, it's a throwaway line that's based off of what was essentially the plot of the entire video or that entire story campaign. So yeah, I don't think it's anything crazy, but I did really appreciate that Battlefront 2 campaign is getting a little more love in the canon.
Operation Cinder existed because that was the Emperor's backup plan should something to happen to him.
Right.
And it was where planets that were loyal to the Empire were actually destroyed through Operation Cinder because they didn't succeed in protecting the Empire, protecting the Emperor. When we get to the end of Star Wars Rebels, the final season, we find that the Mandalore is under Imperial control and there's a level of loyalty. Do you, and then you hear Moff Gideon talking about Operation Cinder, and we have that brought up in The Mandalorian. Do you think that Operation Cinder is what actually is the destruction of Mandalore?
We saw it though in it when the armorer, is that her name? The armor in Mandalorian, that's her name,
armor,
right? Yeah. Okay, I couldn't remember. when she's talking about the Day of Tears, we see it. It's like a bunch of bombers flying overhead, and then a bunch of like K2 droids walking around like look like Terminators. Okay. Honestly, I think that's
possible.
Well, no, Cinder with the satellites. Remember, they basically I think you're right. It's literally a scorched earth policy. But no, I don't think that was what occurred to the Mandalorians.
All right, that's cool. Let's talk about this one. I think it's the best Easter egg in the episode is the mention of a robbery on Kessel. Now, based on the timeline of the series, we are right at the moment that Star Wars Rebels begins.
So it could be right that we see Hera and them.
It could. And in the opening arc of Star Wars Rebels, the Ghost crew goes to Kessel to save enslaved Wookiees. Yeah. And it's Ezra Bridger's first mission with the group, and the first time he sees Kanan Jarrus reveal himself as a Jedi. So I think it's almost certain that this is the event being referenced in Andor. Sam, did you notice this? And what do you think about the parallels to the opening arc of Cassian's introduction to being a rebel, being right alongside the opening stories of Star Wars Rebels?
Yeah, I love that. As we've said, that is our favorite, and we believe is the best animated Star Wars series
one of the
out
best
there.
stories for Star Wars.
It was a huge story. Yeah.
So I love that they're not only mentioning something about the show, right, but they're mentioning a direct plot that occurred in a specific moment in the show. So I love it, and I love how the two stories are kind of running concurrent at this point too. So yeah, I mean, and I thought you were mentioning just the fact that they said that there were multiple different deaths happening all over. Well, that was kind of what was explained in Rebels is like, look, we're
a bunch of different,
we're just a bunch of little cells. We're all connected, I promise, but we got to operate small because we don't want to cause too much of a ruckus.
But all of those cells actually did something, and one of those things being mentioned is the Ghost crew.
Right. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
The one thing that makes me a little kind of iffy about this, did they keep Kanan's Jedi status under wraps to all of the Empire?
Probably.
Only a few people knew.
Oh, absolutely. The only people to find out that
would be a failure for the Empire.
Absolutely. The Jedi Purge didn't work. So they've got to keep, that's why the Inquisitors are so passionate about finding Kanan Jarrus, but they're not going to reveal that he was a Jedi.
Do you think some point we get a mention of Lothal?
I would love to see Lothal.
There's a lot of uprising happening in Lothal. There's all sorts of problems going on. That's the whole point of the series, basically. So yeah.
So final follow-up question on this. With the fact that this season is going to be the rest of this first year, 5 years before the Battle of Yavin, right? BBY. But then the next season is 12 episodes going through the next 4 years. Do you ever think that's where before, even with Ahsoka, do you think that we get some crossover where we see a live action Ghost crew, like the whole Ghost crew at some point
Kanan
in this, with Kanan,
blinded
Zeb,
Kanan though?
Chopper? I would love it. Blinded Kanan with the mask on, all of that. We've already got Sabine. We've already got Ezra. We pretty much can expect Hera.
Well, she was done for Star Wars Squadrons, so
right.
You could just
so
do
then
that.
you bring them all in,
and we've got to be. I mean, Andor has to know about the Ghost crew because they're at Yavin.
Guys, the thing that's not talked about enough is that his code name at the time we get to Rogue One is Fulcrum.
Right.
Who does he replace as Fulcrum? Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So he has to know.
I think so.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody, if we see Hera, maybe even.
I hope we see
running
them all.
A mission, because
I hope they run a mission together.
That would be so cool.
I couldn't take it.
I think a whole arc, 3 episodes of that season 2.
I'm okay with like 5 minutes. But 3 episodes would be too much.
I mean, I don't think it's all that crazy. I mean, they did stuff like that in Mandalorian all the time. They brought in Ahsoka. Like, why couldn't they?
Absolutely. Well, I do think that there's an interesting dad moment in this.
I am your father.
So I find it fascinating that the early buzz about this show from the professionals,
air quotes.
Definitely, using air quotes when I say that, like Grace Randolph, made the claim that there aren't any Easter eggs in this series. In fact, there have been dozens throughout these first few episodes. But the beauty of these Easter eggs is that they have been subtle. If you're not looking, you will miss them. And there's a lesson in this. People see what they want to see. If you want to make the claim that there aren't any Easter eggs in Andor, so that you can get lots of buzz and get people to watch your YouTube channel. You won't see the ones that are right in front of your eyes. But for those who have watched this series with the only goal of enjoying the series, the joy of these hidden gems are right there in front of you the whole time. I guess it's just a matter of perspective on that. Andor episode 6 airs on Wednesday. I highly recommend keeping both eyes wide open. You never know what you might find. So,
good segment.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Tom Hanks expressed interest in joining the MCU.
Wow.
I mean, sure. I don't know who. He couldn't be like a superhero character, but he could be something kind of like what they did with Zeus.
Jeff Goldblum is in the
right. No, that's what I'm saying. They could be like Jeff Goldblum or what they did with Russell Crowe, even though they kind of did.
He is a superhero. He's a god.
Yeah, but he didn't like do superhero-y stuff.
Okay.
All right.
So
I don't know how I feel about Tom Hanks in the MCU.
I know it's a little weird.
I didn't give you one.
You didn't.
I gave you the same one from last
Society
week.
theme song has been released.
That was good.
It was good.
I had one. I just forgot to
very
copy it over.
excited for the Justice Society.
I'm so glad that you follow all this stuff on your own and come up with your own.
I really need to read the Dr. Fate comic,
but we need to get to the store so you can do
comic that was released.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. Yeah. The latest casting rumor for Ahsoka on Disney Plus is that Lars Mikkelsen has been cast to play Grand Admiral.
Nobody else can do it. He's got the voice is just too good.
What if you have?
You can replace Sabine. You can replace Ezra.
Just wait for just a second. Just wait and think about the possibilities now. A season 2 arc of Andor, where Andor is partnering with the Ghost crew for a mission we've never seen, and being pursued by Grand Admiral.
That would be pretty friggin' cool right there. I'll tell you what. Sign me up. Make it happen.
I could die. And honestly, you know how these episodes come out at 3 a.m.
We would be up at 3 a.m. That one, we're getting up at 3 a.m.
Even if it's just one episode, or please let it be 3.
A whole arc. Could you
that
imagine?
wouldn't do it.
That would be cool, amazing. Though. That would be amazing.
But since it'll be in season 2 of Andor, that
like
time jumps are going to go faster,
and
it'll probably just be one episode.
That's still fun.
Well, no, what I understand is that there's, just to kind of clarify, there's 12 episodes. There's 4 years. They're doing 4 3-episode arcs.
All right, then maybe it could happen.
So we can dream. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast.
Yeah, and if you
there's your anything else.
And if
for those of y'all wondering, yes.
So I paste in the anything else's and I pasted it in over this line instead of over the correct
Ezra
line.
Miller actually returned for some Flash reshoots after apology to Warner Brothers.
That was your.
What those reshoots are? No clue.
Yeah.
But also,
if you enjoyed this episode,
you did enjoy this episode, this train wreck. Please share it with your friends. That'd be great.
Speaking of train wrecks, we can think about Kessel, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Of course, the show is only a small part of the Tatooine Sons world, so be sure to like us on Facebook, join the Facebook discussion group, and follow us on Twitter, and you can keep up to date with everything we got going on at TatooineSons.com.
That's right. And don't forget to follow the show on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss our next episode, because you never know what you're going to get. Like a box of chocolates. Please give us a review on Apple Podcasts and give us a rating on Spotify or whatever podcast app you prefer. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening. Anything else you guys would like to say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Joy, please.
Yep, yep.